what would you say your audience would say was the number one reason that they don't like the Democrats, they don't trust the Democrats, and they prefer Trump?
I just don't trust a lot of what he says. But what he just said here, that isn't exactly true.
For my analysis, I'm not just doing Monday morning quarterbacking. Cenk, you need to learn some manners.
Patrick Bet David, or PBD podcast. Big fan of Donald Trump, obviously comes from a different perspective than we do here at TYT. But Patrick, congratulations. I'm sure you're elated over last night's results.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
Well, I'll start off. Tell me what you think Donald Trump did this time around to attract a higher percentage of American voters. I mean, he honestly blew Kamala Harris out. It was unexpected. But what do you think he did this time around that made all the difference?
What did Donald Trump do? Donald Trump, what are the most simple fucking answers? He spoke to the American people. He went on Joe Rogan and alternative media. He was trying to fix the country, the real problems. People don't care about your trans woke garbage. This is a man who will take a bullet to fight over tabletop issues and fight inflation and help the average working man, something like that. There we go.
Well, I will tell you, I think Kamala is the worst candidate the left has had in a while. I think if there was a primary, she wouldn't have beaten Josh Shapiro. She wouldn't have beaten Pritzker, Newsom, maybe Whitmer at best, because that's just not her. I don't see her as a one. I see Whitmer as a one more than I see her as a one. So it was a terrible candidate. On the area of Trump, if you think about 2020, there is an element. You know how you create content? Both of you would know this. You've been doing this for a long time at the highest level. I remember about 6 years ago, I pull in Mario and I'm like, Mario, watch the YouTube channel, the last 100 videos that we have, see how many of them have gone over 100,000 views. And we first listed out how many videos we have produced over 1 million views, 100 views. So we had a lot of them. And I said, but let's look at the last 100 videos. And we looked at it. Only 2 or 3 videos were of 100,000 views. He says, Pat, I cannot believe we're only 2 or 3. I said, why do you think that is? And he's giving me his ideas, trying to be nice to me. Like, well, I just think this. I said, it's not the thumbnail. I said, it's not the title. I said, it's not any of that stuff. It's the fact that I don't look like I'm enjoying creating content. And the audience can tell. Whenever you're miserable like this and you're not happy about what you're doing, and you're bitter and upset, the audience walks. They want to watch somebody that enjoys what they're doing. President Trump in 2020 didn't seem happy. He wasn't in flow state. In 2016, he was. In 2024, I will tell you one of the interesting things that happened with him in this 2024 election, and specifically the last 5 months. I can't even say last year. I can't even say 8 months ago. It's specifically the last 5 months. He looked like he started having fun. And when he's having fun, he's talking, he's doing his trolling, he's getting under people's skin, he's doing his thing, he's being Trump. He wins. That wasn't the case in 2024. I can give you a lot of other things, but the one it fed.
Usually every time this guy talks, he sounds like a fucking snake oil salesman. And I mean that in terms of business as well. I just don't trust a lot of what he says. But what he just said here, or whoever was talking to him, that isn't exactly true. Having a good time and having fun is probably one of the most important things you can do to convince people to believe whatever it is you're saying. You can sell somebody almost any idea you want if you can make them laugh. And if you can make them bored, you're probably not going to convince them of anything. That's one of the reasons why I think I had a good run doing a ton of different shows, is because you just want to go and I'd have fun, right? I could laugh with Adam 22, I could laugh with Fresh and Fit, I could laugh with any of these people. Like, I look like I'm having a good time, looks like I'm having fun. Like, that's way more effective than going on and being like, all the misogynies and all the racism. Like, people are like, oh, this guy's a fucking loser. Who cares? He's upset all the time. That being said, I felt like this was honestly the weakest part of Trump's 2024 campaigning, which is one of the reasons why I was surprised, one of many reasons why I was surprised that he won, although I guess it's maybe just the inflation thing. I don't feel like Trump looked like he was having fun at all this time. Comparing the difference between Trump in 2016 versus 2024, this recent one, is like, I feel like it's not even close. I feel like he looks fucking old and miserable. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the last few weeks or something were different and I just missed. Maybe I missed like the funnier interviews of where he's like more having fun, I guess.
The X factor for me is he looked like he was having fun in 2024. He didn't look like he was having fun in 2020.
So, Patrick, there's folks on the left who think that people voted for Trump because, in my opinion, the hilarious lingo of some leftists, they centered their whiteness above anything else. So obviously, you guys disagree that it's about race, right, or gender. So what would you say your audience would say was the number one reason that they don't like the Democrats, they don't trust the Democrats, and they prefer Trump?
Well, I mean, if you think about, for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm still a registered independent till today. It's been 15 years.
Cringe. You're never voting Democrat, bro.
I'm a registered independent. You can go online and find out what PBD is registered for. You'll see independent. And I voted Bill Clinton. And I think Bill Clinton was a good president. Just so you know, I thought when people talk about Bill Clinton, I thought he did a good job. I thought him being able to sit there and work with Newt Gingrich, making things work was exciting, was good. But at that time, I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I'm 46 years old. Today, I got 4 kids. And I got to kind of sit there and think about who's better for my kids. I lived in California 24 years. I ran a business in California for 24 years. I left California because one day some local, tax assessor comes up and he says, "Hey, we heard your business has grown." I said, "Yes." "Well, you need to pay a local tax assessor tax of $69,000. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Yeah, I need to pay." I said, "For what?" So, well, based on our estimation, this is how much you need to pay. Nothing audited, estimation. I go to the 7th floor, which was my accounting firm at the time. I said, "What is this all about?" He says, "Happens 1 out of 20 business owners, but if they come to you, got to pay for it." I said, "What are you talking about?" $69,000. He says, "Yes." I said, "What counties or cities in LA do I not have to pay a assessor tax?" And I don't remember at that time, I thought he said Victorville, Burbank, Glendale, Santa Monica, a couple of these cities. I said, "I'm going to move to Glendale." So I moved my headquarters to Glendale because I want to be in a place that I can reinvest that money into the business. Eventually, I left California because I didn't think California was a pro-business state. Hence, today, after COVID, 2 states in America lost $1 trillion of assets under management. New York and California. Bad policies push business owners like me, like Musk, like many others out. Now I go to Texas. I lived in Texas for 5 years, Dallas, Texas, fell in love with Texas. But I wanted the best of both worlds. I wanted California and I wanted Texas. California and Texas had a baby. It's Florida. I moved to Florida. Being in Florida, I like DeSantis that he protects my kids. Even in Texas one night, when my first 2 kids are fully vaccinated. The 3rd kid, fewer. The 4th kid, we wanted the options on what to do and what not to do. You know, in Texas, there is no religious exemption.
Jesus. Their kids are less and less vaccinated through time. Oh my God. Okay.
In Florida, there is. So for me, at this phase of my life, when me and my wife are getting smarter, educated, we're making decisions on clear philosophies on how we want to raise our family, probably one of the main things that...
Yeah, I'm curious about that comment, but I mean, I don't know if I'm in a position to talk. How is Florida like Texas and California? I can understand how Miami is kind of like Austin and LA, I guess, or San Francisco. Maybe. That's a stretch. But how is like all of Florida like Texas or Cal? I don't know. I'm not sure. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. Beaches and no income tax. Well, first of all, California. Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Trump appealed to family people like me. It sounded sane. Some of the stuff the left was saying made no sense to me. What are we talking about on what some of the messages that were given? I understand the pro-abortion, the pro-life debate, no problem. I actually understand that argument on how it can be made on both sides. I'm a Christian myself. My position is pretty clear where I'm going to be at, but I can fully understand that being a debate to be talking about. So, they went a little bit too much. By the way, Joe Biden was a moderate Democrat. I know a lot of people on the right are going to be upset with me. How could you say he was a moderate Democrat and all? He was a moderate, but he was forced to act like he was a progressive. But Kamala was a progressive trying to act like she's a moderate, and she wasn't, and people just didn't believe her.
Yeah, I disagree with you a little bit on that last point. I don't think Kamala Harris really has a political identity. I think Kamala Harris will kind of change her political identity depending on what she thinks is beneficial for her in getting elected.
So look, I'm a populist, so I can't stand the donor class and the establishment, et cetera. I think the Democratic Party lost not because they used corporate robot A versus corporate robot B. I think that they all would have lost. I think DeSantis probably would have lost. I think that Trump has a gigantic advantage because he appears to be authentic. He appears to be populist. I've been on your show. You know that I don't think.
Have you guys heard? Did you guys all hear that fake story that PBD told of a Destiny fan? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Oh my God. This is the fakest story I have ever heard in my entire life. Did I tweet this out? Is this on Twitter anywhere? He told some story about how he was at a baseball game with his son or something. And apparently some guy walked up to him and was like, "Hey, are you Patrick Bet-David?" And he's like, "Yeah." And the guy's like, "I'm a Destiny fan. And I think that Andrew Tate is less manly than Destiny." And Patrick Bet-David was like, "Well, who would you rather your son grow up to be? Andrew Tate or Destiny?" And then the guy was like, "Whoa," and he stuttered and like walked away and crying. And he was like, "And that's how I knew." And I was like, this is the fakest story I have ever heard. Oh, wait. Somebody has a video. Oh, it came from a show. Oh, okay.
Conversation together. It's like, hey, what about if we do this project together? How much
it?
money would
Hold
it cost? Blah, blah. And this man is gradually coming closer to me and closer to me.
Okay.
And he says, "So, can I tell you something?" Yes, sir. So, I think you were unfair to Destiny, and I think Destiny is he would have really called that Andrew Tate, the man that you defend, who did human trafficking, and he did this. Oh my God, I'm really not in the mood. I'm watching my son play. I'm trying to get this movie conversation here, and you're coming to my face like this. So let me ask you a question. Do you have a son? I do. You have a son? I do. Would you rather have your son follow the footsteps of a Destiny or follow the footsteps of an Andrew Tate? Oh, 100% Destiny. Really? Yes. So you're okay with your son being okay with his wife while they're married, sleeping around with another man. You're okay with that. I'm okay with that. Well, I'm not, bro. I said the conversation ends right here.
Yeah.
What else do you want to have a conversation with?
You know, what I'm noticing is you are so exceptionally unafraid of standing up for your values.
Oh my God. It's funny because he's doing an inversion of a question I like to ask. Forget who would you rather have your son be? Who would you rather have your daughter date? This is a question I asked Sneeko that he like froze on so hard a long time. I was like, wait, hold on. So you want to be like Andrew Tate? You want all the men to be like Andrew Tate? You think it's good, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, would you want your daughter to be one of like 20 of Andrew Tate's girlfriends? And he's like, well, like, would that be success? Like if your daughter was one of 20 of some high value males rotating girlfriends, like is this a good thing for you? Like it's so cringe that people they don't even really believe this shit. It's all just fucking virtue signal bullshit. Oh my God.
But you also did this, Cenk. You also did this. Let's watch.
The difference that I bring to the table is a track record of successful prediction based upon how American presidential elections have previously worked as pragmatic decision-making on whether or not the White House party has governed well enough. And then my analysis is based upon what's changed, what's shattered the pattern of 160 years of history. So I have a base for my analysis. I'm not just doing Monday morning quarterbacking. Cenk, you need to learn some manners. Your act is getting really thin.
I mean, brother, I said what was going to go wrong. It did go wrong. I was right. You were wrong in this election, spectacularly so, with your so-called keys. And now you come and tell us not the Monday morning.
And unlike you, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Are you?
That is true.
You do need to learn a little bit of manners.
No, I've been a bad boy.
You were bad. You were bad. You were a little. That was a bit much.
Okay, no. So let me now break it down because look, guys, it's easy to make fun of Alan Lichtman. He got it massively wrong and kind of hilariously wrong, and he was so insistent. That's why it's even funnier. But there's a serious part to this, and it's really important actually, and I don't want you guys to miss that. So. Look, his keys are based, there's two giant problems with his keys. One is it's irrational to say that any set of factors is definitive. You can't say that it's definitive. And the point I was making to him, remember the original debate was when Biden was still in the race. I'm like, yes, but if the candidate has dementia, then your keys are not relevant because there's a superseding factor. And he's like,
was Reagan in really rough condition for his second election, or was it just for the end of his second term? I don't know enough about Reagan's whole presidency, but I heard that at least by the end, people were saying that like his wife was like literally running things. I don't know how true that is or not though. Just the end of his second term. Okay.
No, it doesn't matter. And I said, okay, let's take an extreme example. What if the candidate punched a baby in the face every single day? Would that matter? He said, no, it wouldn't.
Oh, come on.
I mean, come on, right? So like the guy is inherently unreasonable, and the reason why I don't mind, pointing this out, one of the reasons is because he's so arrogant and overconfident, and he was selling hopium to a lot of people, and they needed that hopium, but that hopium was, and this is the most important part, leading them in the wrong direction. They were all going, oh no, the professor says Biden should stay in. The professor says it doesn't matter if the candidate has dementia. The professor says that he's always right, and even if the candidate's brain falls out of his ear in the middle of a debate, or he melts on screen, it still doesn't matter that because of the keys, they'll vote for the blob. But most importantly, a lot of the keys are about incumbency. And he's like, if you pick the incumbent will win. But that's actually a terrible advice. In this day and age, he's looking at elections from decades ago when there was no internet, when local politics was king, when you could actually have the party machine have a message that goes only in mainstream media, and mainstream media would then affect the election results. But now because of online media, none of that applies.
Why does he use terms like hopium? Is he a gamer? Somebody pointed out that I used a gamer word at Sarah Palin when I called her the N-word. No, I'm just kidding. Different gamer word. I didn't even realize it was a gamer word. I forgot, but I said auto loss. Like, why would you do this? Like, it was something in reference to something Trump said. And I was like, everybody thought there would be an auto loss for him. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize. I read a comment afterwards, like,
anymore. The incumbents don't have an advantage anymore. They have an albatross around their neck because they're responsible for everything.
It makes sense. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Do you think that he possibly applied them incorrectly or overly biasedly? I mean, maybe. I don't know. Supposedly, Nate Silver went through and did the keys, and he applied them differently than Lichtman, which was funny because usually people are arguing Lichtman's model is wrong, not that Lichtman has interpreted his own model incorrectly, which is funny, I guess.
Every policy position that goes wrong. So, but he did not want to adjust. And guys, the number one reason why you need to know all of this is because in the next election cycle, they're going to come at you with the same BS. And they're going to tell you, oh, we got keys, we got cars, we got oranges, and we got professors, and we got mainstream media people, and we got Queen Latifah, and we got all these people, and they tell you you should pick the most corporate Democrat, the most establishment one, the one who takes the most corporate money, the most donor money. Oh, don't go populist, trying to appeal to the average man. What a terrible idea. Just trust Allan Lichtman's keys that incumbents and Democratic leaders know best. Well, if they know best, why did they lose to Trump twice? Why was Allan Lichtman so wrong? So it's not just about beating up on poor Allan Lichtman, who of course has to be mortified now at how preposterously wrong he was. It's about making sure that we don't make that same mistake again.
If Allan Lichtman would just admit, just have a little bit of humility and just say, look, I got it wrong. I got it wrong this time.
Period.
Isn't that literally exactly what he said? Don't make me a Lichtman simp, because I'm not even, didn't you just watch him literally in a clip say that? What happened to her brain?
If Allan Lichtman would just admit, just have a little bit of humility and just say, look, I got it wrong. I got it wrong this time.
Period.
That's it. It's okay. It's totally fine. People get things wrong time to time. I get things wrong time to time.
We say it all the time. It's not a big deal.
It's the, look, for me, it's not even about his keys system. It's not about what he prefers in a Democratic candidate. I don't care about that. He's an American. He gets to have his own opinions. That's totally fine. The thing for me is just the smugness, his unwillingness to even hear a differing opinion or argument without responding with like this sarcasm and like this elitist attitude. Like, that's the thing that bothers me about Allan Lichtman. Like, there's too much ego in his interactions with other people.
Yeah.
100%. In Turkish, there's a saying this is both wrong and strong. Like,
ooh, I like that.
Yeah, but
we know it. I'm just kidding.
So, but why did Allan Lichtman, rando professor, get all this airtime? So that is actually the more important part of this story. It's because in the beginning, before he came to online media, mainstream media put him on air 24/7.
He was a darling.
Over and over again. Why? They could pick any professor, and there's tons of professors who thought that Joe Biden was going to lose, but mainstream media wanted Joe Biden. And that's back when they were pretending that he was young and dynamic. Oh, Mika and Joe told him we had secret meetings. And oh my God, he solved the theory of relativity all over again in our secret meetings. Behind the scenes, he's so dynamic. So in order to perpetuate that lie, they're like, oh, that dumbass professor thinks a bunch of keys is going to predict that Biden's going to win, even though it makes no sense. Hey, come on. Yeah, Professor Lichtman, everybody listen to Professor Lichtman.
So look, okay.
Then make your own model, then go be on TV. I mean, what do you want to... what are you supposed to do? Make a model, go on TV, try to predict things. Everybody wants to be able to predict things. It's a huge thing for election stuff, right? Same thing with pollsters. Everybody wants to have the next Nate Silver or 538 or good prediction models or good polling things. Or there's nothing nefarious or malicious going on here. It's just people want to be able to make good predictions. And that guy had a model that he purported to be correct about. People are like, oh, fuck it.
I think the way you're framing it is unfair. I think oftentimes, the hosts and maybe even the producers who staff these cable news shows, they're looking for their own hopium. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get you, and it's not a conspiracy, Anna. So I want to be clear, and thank you for to me.
Oh, okay. Thank you because it sounded like you were making it out to be a big conspiracy where they were picking people just to give their audience hopium just to choose the establishment candidate. But thank you. Okay.
that point. It's not like MSNBC and CNN call each other and they're like,
Right.
okay, should we bring on the nutty professor, right? And so, no, it's groupthink. Groupthink is, it's gotta be Biden. It's gotta be Biden. Who's saying it's Biden? Oh, Allan Lichtman's saying it's not Biden. Bring him on, bring him on. Biden, 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 Biden. Then, okay, Biden's out. Then Kamala, bring him back on, bring him on. Kamala. It's groupthink. And so, and I'm kidding around with the dumb and the nutty. He's not dumb. He's a professor.
He's written a lot of books.
Oh, so many books. If you write a lot of books, that means you're smart. It doesn't matter what's in the books. Okay.
I actually think it does mean you're smart. Writing a book is real hard.
Okay, but guys,
Cenk is like so lost in all the extremist media. Not lost in like he's lost, but like he can get lost in it. But the one thing I will say that I like about Cenk, like even like that little comment, like, oh, he's not dumb. He's a smart guy, whatever. Right. Usually when people are like engage in this type of rhetoric, or like I'll do it too, like, oh, this guy f***ed up so hard here, but I don't think he's a dumb guy. Like, this guy's chill. Whatever, you f***ed up. I like that Cenk can like go hard and then just like chill. I appreciate that. I will always appreciate that as a character trait of Cenk. I appreciate that.
look, it's not about poor Allan Lichtman. Just, I'm happy to leave him alone.
Regardless of if I agree with his political opinion or not, a lot I don't. I appreciate that character.
He's just a random civilian that the mainstream media picked out of the woodworks to convince you to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris, right? So, and he's, of course, he's not dumb. He's a professor and he's, et cetera. The reason why I go in that route, guys, is because when you're that arrogant and you're that wrong, if you can't bring humility and say, I'm adjusting now because it turns out I was wrong about the power of incumbency, and I don't want Democratic voters to make that mistake again, then great, go again, bygones be bygones, God bless, no problem at all. Let's move on. But when he comes back on, and I guarantee you 3 years from now, they'll have Professor Lichtman back on telling you it's gotta be Buttigieg. It's like my keys say Buttigieg. Don't pick anyone like Bernie Sanders. My key says Buttigieg or Newsom, right? Well, we're gonna have that fight all over again. So that's the problem.